5 years, a quiet revolution has been unfolding in the cities of Kisumu, Nairobi and Mombasa. A revolution of dignity, of voice, of visibility. At the heart of it all, the Right Here, Right Now program, a bold initiative under the Persons Living with Disability programming implemented by DAYO and its dedicated partners.
Either people have shied away from programming around matters disability, and that is why DAYO comes into the Right Here, Right Now space, bringing the angle of meaningful and inclusive youth participation, where we are involving young persons with disability from the creation, formulation of a particular idea, its implementation, monitoring and evaluation, all through the process, and that's why we call it meaningful and inclusive youth participation. And for us, our angle or our bias tend to tilt toward the persons, young persons with disability.
Sijaona shirika kama DAYO wanaambia walemavu pull your socks. Kwa sababu nasema hivyo, Mombasa kuna mashirika wengi, na hao mashirika wanatetea kwa mambo ya wanawake, mambo ya wasichana, lakini kama sisi PWD tumewekwa kando. Lakini shirika ya DAYO imetukumbuka sana kwa maana waliona PWD pia akona sauti kama watu wengine.
Across Kenya's coast and lakeside, lives have shifted, perceptions have changed, and communities, once silent about disability, are beginning to speak a new language of inclusion.
Some parents, they hide their children who are born with disabilities. Yeah? Instead, they should understand that these people, there's something that God has given them. Yeah, there is a unique strength that they have.
Tulianza mafundisho last year, walitufundisha kama wewe mwenyewe wewe ni nani, wajijuaje, unaheshimiwa ama unaheshimu watu. Tumefundishwa mambo mengi na nimepiga hatua kwa hiyo mafundisho.
Tumekufunzwa mambo mengi, mambo na sexual reproductive health and rights, yenye kibinafsi sikuwa najua kwa undani. Nimeyajua kwa undani, na being a person with disability, most of the time sisi hatujui vile tutajiweka wasafi, vile tutaenda tukiitisha hizo sexual reproductive health rights, na vile pia tunaweza kusimama mbele ya watu kuwaongelesha.
In schools, a unique curriculum quietly took root.
And in Kenya here, if a person is under 18 years, the person does not own any national ID, meaning the person is still a child in Kenyan government.
So some of the things that we do is just to create awareness about some of the rights that persons with disabilities should actually arm themselves with, because we find that most of these persons with disabilities, a good number of them do not know their rights, and you find that most people infringe on their rights, and this leaves them in a very vulnerable situation.
Dubbed "The World Starts With Me," it planted something powerful. More than just lessons, it offered life.
The 25 learners, like the ambassadors in the others, they tell their classmates and the students about the world starts with me, their body, the sexual reproductive health. They tell them, and they're like, even the child, like, so many kids know about their rights. Like maybe we had a case of a child who was at home for 2 times. So when the other talked to him, because the parent, the child was brought back to school. So most of these kids, they know their rights so well.
At Ziwani, we were greeted with a dance. A celebration by students who cannot hear the music but feel the rhythm in their bones. This was not just a performance. It was a declaration. We are here. we belong.
We are here so that we can empower them in terms of skills and even talking, even communication skills, so that they can stand for themselves. Today they have known their rights, and you can see they can explain themselves. They can also come and acquire anything from the teacher. If there's any problem that they have undergone, they can go to the staff room and ask, and also need any explanation.
Now they can be able to advocate for their rights and responsibility, and even they can advocate for the rights of other children, other family members. It has helped them to know themselves. When a child has, maybe by mistake, a girl has spoiled her uniform with time for periods, boys themselves, they come up and support these girls.
In Mombasa, it reached hearts at Ziwani School for the Deaf, Mombasa Secondary School for the Physically Handicapped, Nyali Youth Group, and Kisauni Youth Group.
We have learned a lot, first in the body changes. Personally, I've learned a lot as a man. When I grow up, the body starts changing. Number two, for ladies, we have understand that in every month they undergo menstruation, so they have to keep their hygiene. As a male or as a girl, all works depends on both people. So if you are a student and you are a girl, you are here to learn. Issues about relationships and early pregnancies are not allowed. Also, we have learned if someone is being raped, we have to report.
Now, these children of us are deaf and dumb. They have a problem of communication barrier. Even at home, at the community, some people don't know how to sign. They're not able to communicate with them. But what they have learned from this program, they can now defend themselves. They even know they have a right to ask for an interpreter in case there's any issue they want.
We are also teaching them how to be respectful and also to respect others.
Change is not just structural, it is personal. In mentorship sessions led by DAYO, students with disability began to see themselves differently, to dream bigger, to speak louder, and to believe they can.
Before the program started, having interaction with different people living with disability in these groups, we got to realize that many were facing stress, many were facing depressions, many were facing exclusions which were affecting them from their families, from the community. But this program helped them to bridge this gap.
DAYO came in with mentorship programs, of which we visited several schools for PWDs, especially just a case on point, Mombasa Physical for Handicapped, which we've mentored several students. So through that, we've been able to see students being confident, coming out freely to talk about the issues of disabilities, especially maybe issues of reproductive health. We've also seen students coming out performing very well because they have people who they've looked up to. If somebody so-and-so can, and there's a person with disability, I also can do it.
Beyond the classrooms, DAYO helped birth a technical working group.
We've managed to establish or lobby for the establishment of technical working groups, disability mainstreaming technical working groups, one in Mombasa and one in Kisumu. And those are now autonomous bodies that are functioning by themselves, resourcing and then convening to discuss matters disability. And I know for now we have the Kisumu Technical Working Group is working towards either the review of the Disability Act and the crafting of the disability policy for Kisumu, and that is a win for us.
The main focus for the Technical Working Group is to ensure that United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities is fully implemented locally. Yeah, because as we implement anything in regards to disability mainstreaming, we are implementing the UN Convention.
Not just a committee, but a seat at the table for persons with disability themselves. Because when those affected are the ones leading, the solutions change.
They assisted us in forming the Technical Working Group, which composed different types of disability, the different stakeholders in disability spheres, and we came together as a team. They brought that synergy amongst us.
The Technical Working Group wasn't just symbolic, it was strategic.
We have coordinated programs. We have coordinated many programs with the county government and the national government. This has been made possible through support from DAYO. Whenever we held meetings, DAYO would facilitate our meeting, and out of that, we have done several things. We have had programs targeting youth with disability. We've had programs targeting women with disability and young persons with disabilities. We've had programs around sexual and health and reproductive rights. And these are matters that never used to come to fore because of either segregation or lack of interest. But as a result of the efforts of DAYO, it has been possible.
So we've seen quite a number of things that the technical working groups have managed to push for, including distribution of assistive devices, wheelchairs, hearing aids, mass registrations at the different counties that we work in.
We have tried our best with the technical working group because now we have the ear of the governor, we have the ear of the county government, we have the ear of the national government operatives within the county.
Actually, the technical working group has really assisted us, not just the community aspect, but as also government officers, because once they convene the meetings and the stakeholders come in, we are able to come in and exchange ideas. So in this aspect, we also avoid issues of double dipping because we exchange. You have a program that you are running in your sub-county, I have mine, why don't you come in and join your program to give you more support? Then next go to another program.
Together with DAYO, they crafted a progressive policy, one that identifies, protects, and provides for the rights of persons living with disability.
In DAYO, I think we have made milestones in the formation of disability policies. We have moved with them from the grassroots. From its inception, actually, we didn't have any policies which govern the issues of disability within the county.
I'm very grateful to the collaboration that you have done with DAYO. Since I joined this government about 7 years ago, we have been able to do a number of things. Notable is the culmination of Mombasa County disability mainstreaming policy, of which already is in the stage of gazettement.
The Mombasa disability policy will actually initiate another process of now coming up with a Disability Act that will be a law that will give direction to the county government of Mombasa on how to articulate the issues of people living with disability within Mombasa County. This has been a big problem since from 2013 up to now. We have been struggling on how to come up with a proper policy that will spearhead to ensure that we have a proper laws that govern people living with disability, that will give people living with disabilities in Mombasa County a conducive environment to live in all sectors.
In Kisumu County, the program's role in mapping PWDs has been transformational. In collaboration with the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, DAYO helped trace stories that had gone untold.
You cannot do any development without data, proper data for a particular category. So this project did mapping on persons with disability, and they were looking at the gender, looking at economic status, level of education, looking at coming up with disaggregated data in line with the global data requirement in regards to disability. So this is a great plus that is really going to benefit and help us know how many people we have, and moving forward, this project can as well move to the next level to have other sub-counties data collected.
The result, real data, real people now accessing school bursaries, healthcare and dignity.
We've managed to register children with disabilities in Kisumu County, courtesy of DAYO. And this has really helped so much because this has made the children have access to services that are offered with the council and other organizations. The key one being education, school fees.
The importance of that activity was that it will help us to get the data of the persons with disability, and also help them to access services that the government can offer through National Council Persons with Disability. And so they came in and we had an activity with them, which was very successful. We were able to register so many persons. I can't remember the number, but there were to an excess of 200.
Healthcare workers were trained not just in medical skills, but in empathy.
We work with the healthcare workers. At the beginning, at the onset of the program, we were able to train the different healthcare workers, of course, utilizing their structures to be able to provide services that are not biased, services that are cognizant, or other inclusive services, if I may.
Persons with disabilities, they have always been crying that health service providers have attitude towards them. But now, when we sat them together, we found out that even health service providers, they also tend to think that persons with disabilities, they have some negative attitude. So there is attitude this side, there is attitude this side. So we were trying to find a common ground where we can reason that human being is just human being, with or without disability.
A deaf person walks into hospital. The nurses, the doctors have no idea of sign language. It's easy for them to give out wrong prescription. But with inclusion, we'll make sure at least this is the thing of the past through DAYO and many more other things.
Almost every health worker must have the basics in sign language. I know it's a tall order, but it's workable. And with partners like Dream Achievers and bringing others on board, at one point we'll have achieved this, and we'll let part of us who are not able to speak to feel that they are included.
Advocacy turned blueprints into buildings. In Nyakach, the maternity wing now stands as a model of disability-friendly infrastructure, a quiet testimony to what is possible when inclusion is intentional.
I visited this place around 3 to 4 times just to look at how it's compliant in terms of disability. And I want to say that this facility is over 97% compliant. Look at the ramp, look at the spacing inside, look at the maternity area, the theater, the swivel doors. You know, it still remains a bit to be done, like signage, which has not been done, which I know signage is something that can be done. Parking areas for persons with disability when they come here, those are something that can just be marked. But major infrastructural issues were put in place in this facility.
2-3 years into the program, we've had facilities that have established ramps. We've had facilities that currently have accessible toilets. We have facilities that have accessible rooms, or rather that have embraced the universal design, where you might find, if you go to a facility, a door can swing both ways that allows somebody with either a withered hand to be able to enter without necessarily using a lot of force.
Before this program, some parents hid their children, not out of cruelty, but shame, fear, and misunderstanding. But that is changing. Now, more and more, they are embracing their children, showing them to the world with pride, not pity.
There are parents, there are mothers, there are single mothers who have been keeping their kids back at home in the name of having fear, but giving them the confidence that they should have, they are now able to bring their children out who are living with disability, so that they can also go to access the available resources like the health facilities, so that they can be treated, they can be able to get education.
Recognizing the power of arts in passing vital information, DAYO used dance, puppetry, and films to showcase and educate the public on matters PWD.
Mimi kwa familia yetu, tangu nizaliwe, babu yangu na babu yangu hakujawahi kuwa na mtoto kilema. Wewe unakuja unanizalia mtoto kilema, ati unaniambia ni wangu. Wewe mtoto ni wangu kweli?
Sasa baba Maua, unataka kusema huyu Maua ni wa nani? Mimi najua wewe ndio baba yake.
Si mimi nakuonanga ukiangalia Njoro na macho mengine. Hiyo ni damu ya kina Njoro.
We have a short video called, or rather named Sarah, which talks about the story of a young woman who's a woman with disability and is also expectant, and she is seeking family planning services at the facility. And the attitude, it talks about the attitude of the healthcare providers. And the whole video appreciates the intersectionality that comes into play when it comes to access to health services, including sexual reproductive health services for young persons with disability.
DAYO, again working in Mombasa, was able to do graffiti in very specific places, just highlighting the plight of young PWDs and their families and what they go through in accessing sexual reproductive health and rights. There was a book about Bounded Voices that was very massive because it documented the lived realities on a daily basis of PWDs.
DAYO went further and developed a PWD's toolkit. This toolkit is more than a manual. It is a blueprint for a world that sees every person and makes room.
One of also our key milestones has been the co-creation of an SRHR, an inclusive SRHR toolkit. I believe it's not necessarily a toolkit to be used only at county level or national level. It's a toolkit that cuts across. Anybody that programs, be you at the regional or global level, and you're programming around matters disability, and more specifically SRHR access for young persons with disability, this toolkit provides for how, it defines the terms for how you engage in that particular space when it comes to young persons with disability.
This project has really helped, and it's something that I would recommend to proceed in the next phase, so that we now focus engagement at the lower level to reach more people. But it's something that has really benefited and is in line with the government commitment in regards to Global Disability Summit, because Global Disability Summit 2018 and 2022 and proposed 2025 talks about inclusive health.
DAYO would benefit a lot from support to continue expanding the work that they do. At the moment, they work in Kisumu, Mombasa, Kilifi, Kwale counties, and Nairobi, of course. But a lot still needs to be done in covering the other counties. And having worked with them over the 4 years and having seen their growth, starting, of course, as a CBO and now as an NGO, I think with critical partnerships and support, there is a lot that DAYO can still achieve, and it would be very useful to see people who are interested in this work coming forth and providing technical, financial resources for DAYO to continue expanding this work into other areas, while also going deeper and providing depth even in the counties that they already have presence.
Where we are currently, I can't say we've achieved all, but I put out a word out there that for people who are programming around matters disability, we just need to join hands, because again, there's still a lot that needs to be done. Be it the provision of these particular services that you have talked about, SRHR services, be it access to education, be it the public sector. So it's a train of sorts that everybody boards in at a particular point, all in these efforts put together to provide for the rights, the sexual and reproductive health rights of young persons with disabilities.
For any opportunities that is available, for any partnership, for any donor who want to work in Mombasa, then he should work together with DAYO.
We thank you so much, DAYO, for this program, and we are requesting in future you bring more programs like this so as students can learn more.
So much has been done, but the journey is not over, because for every child still hidden, for every school still inaccessible, for every voice still unheard, there is still more to do, and the time to do it is right here, right now.